Hello, and welcome to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. I am so glad you are here with me. My name is Carrie Dahle, and I am your host. I am an entrepreneur, author, podcaster, manifester, and motivator. And I am on a mission to empower you to create the life of your dreams. If you are looking to up-level your life, relationships, finances, productivity, and success, you have come to the right place. I will share with you tools, resources, strategies, my failures, and my successes that have all helped me achieve the life of my dreams. It is my goal with this podcast to help you see your potential and empower you to create the life of your dreams. So let's get to it. Hey everyone, it has been a hot minute since I've been on just by myself. I've had so much that's been going on and so many things to share with you that I can't just pick one topic for today. So I thought today could be like a little catch up with Carrie or chat with Carrie kind of thing. And we would talk about the new book that's coming out, and we would talk about my annual RRR reflection, recalibrate and re-energize trip, and the new puppy, and just all the life lessons that go with that. So where do we start? Okay, let's start with the new book. I was asked to be part of a series of books that's called Sacred Spaces. Colleen Avis is the head author in that, and then she invites and chooses other authors to participate and contribute a chapter each. And they are beautiful books, and I am so excited and so proud. And I really hope that you guys have been listening this last month to the podcast, because I had 3 exceptional authors on that shared a little bit about themselves and also shared about their chapter somewhat and just kind of gave you a tease into it. But I also had Colleen on a couple months ago, and then I reminded you all to listen to her again at the end of January. And I hope you have, because God, this woman is amazing. She just brings light everywhere she goes and energy everywhere she goes. And I admire her. She challenges me. She makes me better. She's a great friend. I just enjoy every second I get with her. And I think while you all won't get time with her specifically in this book, you will get to know her some. And you're going to get to know all these other beautiful people and, just learn something, or maybe discover something in yourself that you didn't know, or understand that we all have similar battles. We all have similar struggles. We all have been through things good and bad, and it helps to have support, right? It helps to know that others are like us. So check it out. It's a fantastic book. It is not something that you have to read every chapter. If every chapter doesn't appeal to you, just read the ones that feel good. But I will tell you that this is an amazing group of people, and I think that every chapter has value in it. So check it out. It comes out February 18th. And if you want to be part of the launch team for that and know exactly when it launches and be someone to review it and potentially get an early copy, let me know. DM me, send me a message. I'll add you to the list. We'll get it going, because seriously, you don't want to miss this. And in regards to my chapter, there's a lot going on in that one. It was an experience like I've never had before in writing it. Colleen asked, and I think I shared this another time or maybe on one of the other podcasts this past month, but she asked us basically to stand naked in front of the world. And when somebody asks you to do that, you're like, what? I don't want to stand naked. I mean, what she's meaning is to stand emotionally naked in front of people, because that is what makes us all relate, right? When you are that vulnerable, others can relate to you. And that's a tough one. That's like a super tough one for me. But I did it. And the story is still hard. It's still hard for me to think about. It's still hard for me to process. I'm in a better space with it now than I was, obviously, when it happened, and I'm in a better space with it overall. But it doesn't mean I don't have moments. We all do. And without giving it away, it's talking about the in-between times in life when you're in between something. And in this case, for me, it was a blend of a real estate thing, which will make sense, and a very personal family relationship thing that I'm in the in-between. I'm still mostly in the in-between, but I've shifted my perspective. Check it out, read it, let me know what you think. We'll talk more about it once it's truly out and you guys have had a chance to read it, and I'm not giving away any spoilers. Okay, but moving on. Jeff and I just got back from our annual Reflect, Recalibrate, and Re-energize trip. And this year was a bit different because it was a big birthday for him, so we planned a different trip. Usually we go somewhere warm because I need to get away and just soak up the sun, and that's a great energy charging thing for me. But this year, it was up to him. I asked him what he wanted, and not that we don't always decide together, but this was about him and his birthday. And he chose Italy. And I thought, okay, Italy in the winter, that's an interesting thought. Hadn't been there before, hadn't had that experience before. I didn't know what to expect. The climate's pretty similar to where I live here in Southern Oregon. So I thought, okay, that's fine. I'll figure it out. It's not going to be my normal sunny thing. And I also planned many days of events and things happening. So again, it wasn't quite the same as years past. But what we did do is we still made time for each of these things. So actually ahead of going on a trip, we had sat down and discussed our goals for the year individually and the things that we wanted to do. And we did quite a bit of reflecting that way and work ahead of time. But while we were on trains and while we were in cars or at dinner or when we had downtimes, we did spend quite a bit more time reflecting on this past year, reflecting on what is important to us, reflecting on what needed to change, reflecting on things we were reading. And that was kind of fascinating for me. I always take along books on travels on my Kindle because I don't like to pack all that, but I bring books. And this year I grabbed Rachel Hollis's new book, What If the Answer Is You? And then I think the rest of it is like 26 other questions, something like that. Find it, look it up. It's a great book. Shout out to her. That I'm not done with it. I'm taking my time on it. I'm reading each chapter and kind of soaking it in. But what it did for me, specifically in this trip, is it allowed me to really reflect on some things and reflect on some really good questions. And ironically, one of the most impactful questions that I read was, and I don't remember exactly how it's worded. I should have gone and looked this up before I started this podcast, but it was something along the lines of, what if, what is it you need to remove in order to be the best version of you or to get to the goal you want to be? Because a lot of times we think about the things we need to add, but what is it you need to remove? And she was referencing, which is why I say it's so ironic, she was referencing the statue of David that Michelangelo sculpted, and all of his other sculptures actually, which are in Florence. And I had literally just seen it that day when I read this chapter. And she was talking, and we had a guide, and he was telling us on this tour how Michelangelo believed that you removed the stone and unveiled the sculpture that was beneath. And she references this too, and she talks about how in our own lives, a lot of times we need to sculpt away the things that are on the outside so we can find the true and the real us, or the person we're trying to be, or the goal, or whatever it is. And I thought that is really an awesome way to look at it, right? That is an awesome way to look at moving forward and getting into becoming ourselves. And it really made me start thinking a lot about what it is I can remove to be better in all the things I can do. And, that's a hard thing to do, because for me personally, I pile things on. I take on too many things. I make too many commitments. I say yes to too many things, and I've gotten much better about it, but I still have done it again. And I don't want to be mediocre at anything. I want to be great at all the things I do. That's just who I am. I strive to be the best at things, and I can't do that if I'm spread out. So I really, really like the idea of that, and that was a great reflection moment for us. And then another question that she asked, which really, really struck a chord with me, was, when did you know? And that chapter was really about intuition and trusting your intuition. And a lot of people say, I don't have intuition. You do. Everyone is born with it. Think back to your childhood. Think back to the way you respond to things, the way you react to things, all of that. And you'll recognize that you do have intuition. You just have buried it. You have just closed it off, and you can bring it back with practice. For me, I am very intuitive. I feel things. I recognize things. I read energy pretty well. I go with my gut, is what my husband always says. And he's right. I go with my gut on everything. But what I loved about this question is, when did you know it was wrong? Well, at some point in any bad decision, or some point in something that didn't go quite right, you knew. Like you knew, but sometimes it takes further down the road to recognize it or see it. But you can look back always and go, yeah, I did know then. I should have listened to myself, which is a great thing when you're moving forward, right? And if you can learn from those past mistakes, and you can learn what it is you were feeling and what it is you were thinking, and what the hesitations or the little signs that you had that something was wrong, then you can use that in the future with making decisions, and you can learn to trust your intuition more. And I love that. And we spent a lot of time reflecting on some choices that weren't the best for us this past year. And there was true relief in some of it, actually, for me. There was relief in knowing that I wasn't necessarily, they weren't bad decisions, but they were just decisions that maybe weren't best for me. And to be able to accept that and understand it and move forward within that and make the changes that I need to make is outstanding. And I think that I will be better for that. I think that my businesses will be better for that. I think that my relationships will be better for that. So I just want to encourage all of you to spend some time working on that intuition of yours, working on how you can be more in tune with how you're feeling about things, and trusting your gut some more, because there's massive value in that. All right, what else? What else is new? Oh, I have a new puppy. Puppy. She's been here now just a couple days. In fact, I have been trying to get to this podcast now for several hours, and that hasn't worked too well, because I tried to bring her up into my space, which she's never been in before, and I thought she would like that and she would explore, and I brought babies and toys up here, and she did nothing but sit here and whimper at me. So, and also I'm being reminded of having a puppy is like having a baby. You get up several times a night. You have to take them potty several times. You have to multiple feedings. There's crying at bedtime. There's all these things. There's attention. There's don't take your eyes off of them. There's keeping them contained. There's all these things. But also there's all these really great life lessons that I am seeing in a puppy, like curiosity, right? They are so curious. And I just think about us as humans and people, and wow, if we were all just more curious, if we were all just more inquisitive and wanted to learn more, wow, what would that do? Like, what would that do for you? What would that do for us as a humanity? What would that do? And then also, like, not having a worry in the world. She isn't worried about what my older dog thinks. She isn't worried about anything. She is just free-spirited and running around and exploring things and finding what she likes and learning what she doesn't like. And she's not letting anything else control how she's feeling. And that reminds me of being a child, right? And how there was a time in your life where we were all so innocent, and our feelings are what mattered, and the things we liked and the things we wanted are what mattered. And people often say, well, that's just so selfish. Well, yeah, no, it's not. It's not selfish. When did it become okay for others' opinions or others' thoughts to be more important than yours or mine? When did that happen? I mean, I'm not saying be cruel. I'm not saying not think about them or have compassion or empathy or understand them, but don't make their thoughts or their feelings be more important than yours. I mean, I love my husband more than anything, and I put him first in many, many things. But if I were my friend and I was sitting back watching Jeff and I do things, and I saw that I was always putting his feelings before mine, not that it, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but if I were always doing that, I would be like the friend going, what the heck? What are you doing? So if I were a friend to myself and I would tell myself not to do that, not to value other people above myself, why am I not doing that myself, right? No family member, no good friend, no anyone. You shouldn't feel like you have to put other people's emotions or feelings above your own. I'm not saying to not consider them. I'm not asking you, in fact, I'm not telling you to not be empathetic to it, but don't make theirs more valuable than yours. You have just as much value. And then energy. I am watching, in fact, right now, I had to pause and go feed her because remember I said multiple feedings. And I'm watching her pop around and jump around and check out all the toys, and she just is full of energy. But in about 15 minutes, she's going to crash. She listens to her body. She just lays down and rests whenever she needs to. And she plays when she needs to, but she listens to her body. So let's take a lesson from that and listen to our own bodies, because we need to do that too. When your body is tired, rest. When your body needs a walk, go for a walk. When your body needs food, fuel it. But listen to yourself, pay attention to yourself, and do what is best for you. All right, before something happens I don't want to happen, I'm going to run. But I just want to tell you all that I think you're amazing. I'm proud of you. I hope that you spent some time reflecting and recalibrating and re-energizing this year as well. And I want to remind you all that I believe in you, and you can manifest your dreams.